Why have I asked my electrician I found on Angie.com to bury my pet hamster? I was so moved by how carefully he buried my electrical wires, I knew I could trust him to bury my sweet nibbles after his untimely end.
This is very strange.
Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find pros for all your home projects at Angie.com.
Courage. I learned it from my adoptive mom. Hold my hand.
You hold my hand.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
I don't drone on. I'm pretty succinct. People have said that about my bits.
Yeah.
People say, Henry, what a great self-editor. Which is why today I'm going to start with, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the big song. We're not starting with a sea shanty. No. Gurney's requested it.
Yeah, of course.
But
sea shanty?
I'm drawing a line in the water.
Yeah, Gurney's a big fan of sea shanties. Doesn't want to hear us butcher them.
Oh. Do you want to hear? Rob, can you give Eddie
I like show me the way to go home.
Just show me but that's barely
show
a shanty.
me the way to go home.
I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Yo, I remember.
Is that a shanty?
I had me a drink about an hour ago and it went straight to my head.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus Parks. I'm here with the self-editing Henry Zabrowski.
Mick. Sure.
Wow, it's more annoying somehow.
Yeah, way more annoying. And here with the sick of it all, Ed Larson.
I'm so sick of Henry's bullshit, man. I'm so fucking sick, man. I puked out my penis.
Yep. I hope you die.
Oh my
I
God.
hope it fucking kills you. I hope
scurvy.
I hope my content kills you.
It will.
And we're here for the Batavia.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah, now we're really gonna fucking get into it.
Yeah, I really like Batavia because it makes it's a good artificial sweetener.
God damn it.
Cut all of that out. At the very top.
Now, to really make sure we're all on the same page here, we're going to back up the story just a little to really examine the mood on the Batavia and the relationships between the crew that resulted in a mutiny planned by 2 VOC employees, Captain Ariana Jacobs and undermerchant Euronymous Cornelis.
See, I know that it's Ariana or Ariane, but then I just think of Ariana Grande.
Yeah. So just don't imagine Ariana Grande as the captain of this ship.
Well, she fucking took over and mutinied wicked. I'll tell you that.
That's right. And then she mutinied and took over that SpongeBob's dick and balls.
That's right.
Yeah. She better made her throat slimmer so that she could make his penis feel bigger in her mouth.
That's pretty slim throat.
Yeah. Well, mutinies. God.
Not a good way to start.
Well, mutinies were actually quite rare on VOC ships, and in fact, it was entirely unheard of for a mutiny to be led by a VOC officer like Euronymous Cornelis, as most undermerchants in his position were vetted to ensure they had no mutinous qualities.
We talked about this in the very beginning when we were talking about how they assembled the team for this, is that normally they hire from within.
Yeah.
So normally it's a guy who works his way up, certain amount, and normally these trips out to the Indies were reserved for people that either were, I guess, the best of the best of the best or the worst of the worst of the worst. There seemed to be no in between. He went in and said, he just got in, remember, because he was educated.
Well, a captain vouched for him.
Yes, so he got in, but the rest of them were scared to death of their bosses.
Yeah.
Because they knew what they would do.
What's a mutinous quality? Like bestiality or?
Well, if you're...
Only if you're on a ship of dogs.
Well, if you'll remember, the conditions for being an undermerchant required that they not be bankrupt. Because while the VOC did need an air of desperation in an employee in order for them to risk their life for a trip to the Indies, a reek of desperation could lead to them getting ideas about the 500-pound chest full of treasure down in the hold.
The trip has to be worth more than what's in the boat.
Yeah, very much does. Because at this point, Henry was telling me the other day, a tenth of the VOC's entire earnings were on board the Batavia.
Yes, so a tenth of their entire corp was sitting underneath their feet as they were floating out into the middle of the Indian Ocean.
And they're the most successful corporation of all time.
Well, technically.
Well, the most, I mean, not compared to what, businesses today do, they're not even close, but they were the first successful corporation and definitely the most successful corporation of their day.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't say that Euronymous Cornelis necessarily had the desperation reek. Rather, Euronymous was simply greedy and amoral with nothing to lose, as the only things waiting for him back in the Netherlands were a failed apothecary business, a sick wife, and his dead baby's grave.
And I'll tell you what, my sick wife just will not have sex with me on that grave, no matter what poison I bring home. I try to be with my haunted wife, and I wish I could see my dead child. But instead, I'll be a king of an island.
Also, you can just say baby grave.
Yeah, a dead baby's grave is true. Because, well, it's better than just a baby's grave because it just sounds like you just put an infant in a hole.
That's true.
I actually debated a lot about that, about whether or not I should say just baby's grave or dead baby's grave. And I thought, sometimes people buy graves in advance, but you don't normally buy graves in advance for children.
That's a super not confident person. Yeah. And that's how you know if your parents think, I don't know. Like, it would be so nice if first thing you get somebody for their child's christening is, and just in case, I bought a little plot right over here. As you can see, it's right by the restrooms. So you can go and throw up out of grief first and then go look at the grave.
And this casket, look how small it is. Look,
Spider-Man theme, just like what he loves.
But concerning the morality of fomenting a mutiny on a ship with women and children aboard, Euronymous had no qualms with the consequences of his actions, for he was a so-called heretic.
Yes, I care about nothing, and I like it.
His personal philosophy, influenced by the famous Dutch Gnostic Johannes Terentius, held that he was incapable of sin, that no thought or deed, not even murder, could be described as evil or even wrong.
And then I got deep into the fucking up to the balls with Dan Carlin's Prophets of Doom, like all of the story about the Anabaptist rise in Munster and all this shit. And I found out that, essentially the same crew of Anabaptists, which we brought up last episode, were kind of what Euronymous grew up in. And it was a very specific sect of guys that were essentially the Protestant version of ISIS that decided to just start attacking a bunch of, after the Lutheran breakup, all the Protestant Reformation of the church. Basically, Martin Luther put a little tenet in there that says you're allowed to go interpret the Bible as you want, and it caused all this fucking chaos. And so the Anabaptist, one sect, went so far that they were like, oh, we're now destroying churches and reliquaries and doing all this shit. Aren't you happy, Martin Luther? And Martin Luther says, no, please stop emailing me, because he didn't want anything to do with it. But then this Anabaptist crew took over Munster and did this whole fucking culling of all these people. And so it's from those guys comes Euronymous.
Yeah, I'm glad we have this show for you to talk to me about this stuff, because if you do it outside of here, gonna have to beat you up.
Hey, my deep, long info dumps on obscure historical / horror movie thing. It's a feature, not a bug. People like it.
Well, that's all to say that Euronymous felt no guilt over what he was about to do, and his only thought concerned the life of luxury and freedom that all the treasure on the Batavia would give him once it was in his grubby little hands. Euronymous, however, was in essence an apothecary who'd never been on a ship like the Batavia before this journey, so he didn't really have the cred necessary to organize a mutiny without someone who could speak the language of the sailors. But Euronymous found a way around his lack of cred when he became friends with the Batavia's captain, Ariana Jacobs.
Yes, we can be friends, can't we, Mr. Grande? But this guy's an old salty dog, dude. You remember when we came on
Captain
here?
Jacobs?
Yeah, Captain Jacobs is a salty-ass dog, and he's getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
And we checked the pronunciation. We actually did. That is the proper way the proper 17th century Dutch way to say Jacobs. Jacobs.
Yeah, there's lots of Jacobs and Euronymouses, and like all the names are like so close to the other one's name.
Yeah.
You're doing a wonderful job, Marcus.
You were doing our best. I went through hardcore history in that podcast, and there's 4 different Bernards. There's 2 different Jans, and you're just there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
They just were lazy with the names. I don't know why the Dutch people were lazy with the names.
They were complaining about how the splinters in their feet from the wooden shoes. Also, whenever I hear Euronymous, I feel like it should be yelled like, Euronymous!
Now, it was almost as rare for a captain to mutiny on a VOC ship as it was for an undermerchant to do the same. But Jacobs had a few reasons of his own for getting a mutiny together. Firstly, Jacobs was a man in his mid-40s and therefore one of the ship's elders. He was the very definition of I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, god damn it. It's just always him with the fucking cool hanging out of his mouth. He's got one of those like heavy weight belts on all times, been like, God damn, what now? God fucking damn it.
Can I do one real? I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, it's even getting
so
old
good.
to say it. It's getting old. I hurt my back too yesterday at the gym, so I'm actually kind of I'm feeling Jacobs.
I hurt my back writing this script.
Wow. From chortling at our imagined responses. No? So what were you doing?
I was crouching for 9 hours straight.
Yeah.
Why were you crouching?
He's hunched
That's
over
how
his
I
computer.
hunch when I
Yeah.
write. I hunch. I try.
He's like a little gargoyle in there.
Yeah, I try to stand up straight. I even tried using one of those back things.
straps.
Doesn't work.
You know what Natalie does sometimes? Tries to touch my butthole.
While you're working?
Sometimes you come up, sticks you straight up.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'll see if Carolina can add that to her schedule.
Hey, tell her to pencil it in.
Yeah, you pay me, I'll do it.
Yeah, man.
Noted.
Yeah, Kelsey can go up.
Well, to give you an idea of who Captain Jacobs was, he'd been working at sea for 2 decades and had taken several trips back and forth to the Indies on behalf of the VOC.
Which is like you're 195 in sailor years.
Yeah, to survive
should not
that,
be alive.
No, to survive that many trips, you got to be a hardy motherfucker. But by the time the Batavia reached the Cape of Good Hope 6 months into their journey, Jacobs was absolutely exhausted with the lifestyle.
God damn it, I'm sick of going these Capes of Good Hopes. How about fucking one of these Cape of Good Asses or something? We need some kind of something else. I'm sick of this fucking shit. I'm sick of waves.
Well, in fact, Captain Jacobs, in talking about his lot, was known to repeat one phrase over and over.
If only I was younger, I'd do something different.
Yeah. That was it. That was just he would say that to Euronymous over and over and over
if
again.
I just got one shot, I'd dance.
Such a sad catchphrase.
Well, yeah, right? If only I was younger. I've been saying this since I was 4.
Oh, you suddenly turned to Tom Waits.
Yeah, talking to teacups, and I had a relationship with an elevator. Yeah, I'm Tom Waits. Jason's.
But the thing that really spurred Captain Jacobs into mutiny was good old-fashioned hatred, which was directed at upper merchant Francisco Pelsart.
Hello. And I realized before, he's not Paul Rudd. He's Mel Gibson.
He's very much a Mel Gibson type in this story. So let's get a little recap on Upper Merchant Pelsart, who, if you'll remember, was the man in charge of the entire journey, and basically the only guy above Captain Jacobs. He was the captain's supervisor.
Yeah.
See, Upper Merchant Pelsart had done some good turns for the VOC during his career. He'd established the route for the Dutch indigo trade, and he was a skilled diplomat who'd opened up a lot of profit lines in India. But in the time leading up to the launch of the Batavia, Pelsart was going through a rough patch professionally. His last diplomatic mission to India had been an utter failure, so he had convinced the VOC's big bosses, the Gentlemen 17, to let him take $7.8 million in silver on the Batavia so he could transport it to India, where he would bribe a second Indian court to make up for his losses at the first. Got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So legitimately, again, this whole trip for Pelsart is to get him back to zero. It's not even to get him, like, to make him money. This is just so that he can start showing his face around town again.
Yeah.
And was there silver on the other ships in the fleet or just the Batavia?
So the way it seems is that the Batavia held all of the treasure. The reason why, part of the safety measuring things that they did was by going in large groups, because what we said is it helps you immediately. You are not immediately alone in the water.
Yeah.
You are surrounded by all these essentially messenger ships and various things that help the main boat do other things. And certain other, like you have the Pelsart's on the main ship, but there are captains on the other smaller ships that all kind of run various aspects, but mostly secure the Batavia.
Yeah.
So it's all there.
To keep the Portuguese away.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Everything.
partly. Yeah,
And
keep
then
the Portuguese, the Spanish, the English, and also to protect against mutinies.
Yeah,
Yes.
and regular ass pirates.
Yeah,
And
regular.
yes,
Exactly.
and regular pirates, and then and then when you arrive at the place, and then those people, let's say you are trying to bridge a new trading gap with a new crew of people, you don't know who they are either.
Yeah. Like when the Batavia left, like the Batavia was supposed to be in a fleet of 14 ships, but it had a lot of problems getting off. It left late. And so it was now, at this point in the story, it's in a flotilla of 7 ships. But the maiden voyage of the Batavia, that had to go well for Upper Merchant Pelsart if he was going to get taken seriously in the VOC ever again.
Did you know the flotilla's back at Taco Bell?
The first ever taco that also hydrates.
But unbeknownst to the Gentleman 17, they had introduced an X factor into the Batavia's journey when they assigned Ariana Jacobs as the captain. See, just after Upper Merchant Pelsart had fucked up his last deal in India, he'd clashed badly with the captain of the boat that had taken him home, to the point where that captain and Pelsart had gotten into a physical altercation. The captain that Upper Merchant Pelsart had fought with was none other than Ariana Jacobs, the very same man who was now in charge of the crew and navigation on the Batavia.
Hey, how you doing, Pelfart? Good to see ya. Remember the last time you fucked up in India?
You should really just treat me a little more respect.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, Pelfart?
Okay, well, the crew's watching.
Yeah, I bet they are. They're laughing because I'm a funny guy.
I can't argue there.
Pelfart, dumb shit. Wish I could kick your ass again, and I'll do it.
I mean, I think I won the fight.
I'm going to beat the fucking shit out of you, buddy.
The Captain Jacobs had nursed a grudge against Upper Merchant Pelsart after their tussle on the boat out of India. But while he had resolved to put that aside for Batavia's maiden voyage, the resentment was still bubbling under the surface, just waiting for someone to come along and stir it up.
Because you got this guy, all Pelsart is a reminder that they really don't care if any of you die.
No, they don't want you to die, but they don't mind if you die.
Couldn't care less. Pelsart's the only one that matters, and Pelsart doesn't even matter. He just needs to bring the stuff. As long as he has the stuff and he gets it safely and sells it, then he's fine. Or if he brings the money back safely, he's fine. But otherwise, all Pelsart is a reminder of like, oh, I'm an expendable piece of shit, and he has no skills, and he depends on me, but he's my boss.
Yeah, he's the ultimate company man.
Yeah. And as you may have already guessed, the man who was about to stir up Captain Jacobs' resentment real fucking nicely was Euronymous Cornelis. Together, Jacobs and Cornelis would create the conditions that turned the maiden voyage of the Batavia into a blood-soaked, murderous nightmare for almost all who survived the ship's eventual destruction. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to back up the story a bit from where we left it last episode. Thank you, Edward. Thank you very much.
Moan back.
So let's begin today's tale right before the crew put in at the Cape of Good Hope, prior to the conversation that would lead Euronymous and Captain Jacobs into mutiny. Now, by April of 1628, the Batavia was still in a flotilla of 6 other VOC ships and had been at sea for 6 months. In truth, things were going about average for a VOC ship of this size, which is to say that it was a horror show by modern standards.
Yeah, it sucked down there, man. I even don't like boats now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, cruise ships aren't really nice now, except for you weren't going to join.
Oh, yeah.
Side stories. On our true crime cruise, which is true.
The Crime Wave, November 3rd to 7th.
Yep, we are going to be hosting our own mutiny.
Yes.
On board a cruise ship, and we cannot wait to be there.
Yeah, all right. You get your tickets next week. All right, we'll keep moving.
Well, by this point in the Batavia's journey, almost a dozen men had died from that most particular, horrific, and stereotypical of all sea deaths, scurvy. Now, when a sailor has an extreme deficiency of vitamin C and scurvy sets in, a sailor's legs would swell and his breath would become rancid. Soon after, his gums would begin to bleed and his mouth would become so swollen and rotten with gangrene that his teeth would fall out one by one before he mercifully died.
Thank you.
Why is as soon as I see it, for some reason, maybe I should have jerked off or something. But
Yeah.
the idea of like a sailor's legs and butt getting all swollen and big and then looking at him and the first thing you think of is like he puts the curvy and scurvy.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't say anything about his butt getting big.
I just assumed. Just imagining his butt slowly expanding and you're just looking at it and, all of a sudden his pockmarked, rotten face is slowly but surely turning into Alexandra Daddario and... You just don't know, because you're out in the water or in any port in a storm. That literally is the story of the first time a guy ever had sex with another guy's butt on a boat. Is where that term came from.
Which term?
Any port in a storm. Because the guy's name was Port.
So once the scurvy sets in, what do we
Port Johnson?
What do we know about scurvy? Like once it sets in, like can you get better from it, or are you fucked like rabies?
I'm not sure. I think you can get better from scurvy. There's I'd imagine there's a point of no return, but
Yeah.
I think you can. Yeah, if I remember from a medical drama that I watched where a homeless man showed up to the hospital with scurvy, I think they said he's got scurvy. Just give him some vitamin C and he'll be fine.
People still get scurvy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's actually a very bad problem with homeless people.
Oh man, gotta get the vitamin C pills for everybody.
Honestly, this is why, a lot of people have really been angry with me, but a part of my big reach out that I've been doing in Los Angeles is just throwing oranges at them.
Yeah.
And people get really upset with me. And I'm like, I'm fighting scurvy.
But while nearly a dozen men dead of scurvy in 6 months sounds like things were going exceptionally badly, this actually put the Batavia ahead of the curve.
You're like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, a dozen. Wow.
We needed some good news.
On an average 8-month journey, the VOC expected to lose 30 men to scurvy.
Damn.
And in extreme cases, half the crew might die, resulting in triple-digit body counts.
Think about being one of the anonymous men on this boat who are all like, I don't know my name. Me neither. I don't care. Neither do I. But these guys on this boat, they know that it's packed to beyond capacity for the planned murder, for their planned death.
Yeah.
They know that this ship is overly filled because by the time we get to where we're supposed to be, it will be at just the right amount of people.
In like a weird way, like it's almost good if people die because then they don't have to pay them.
I mean,
yeah, buddy.
I think that might be a little bit a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's also, I think what it is, it's kind of a checks and balances type thing. I mean, they're looking at the balance sheet where, we're paying a lot of guys less than living wage.
Yeah.
So I think in the end, it just kind of all balances out for them.
And the Brits, they would like bring citrus with them, but for some reason the Dutch didn't.
Sometimes, like every once in a while, they might have like lemons, like they might be able to like squeeze a lemon or something like that. Like they didn't know that vitamin C was what, cured it. They didn't know that fruit was what you kind of needed, what you could do to get like a big like boost of it.
Yeah.
But they did kind of happen upon it by accident. Every once in a while, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember the last time I had scurvy. I squeezed a lemon in it and I drank some, wine and it was fine.
Cool.
Yeah, you just got to, hopefully you're on the right boat.
I mean, this is very much the era of trial and error.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, and not
For
really
all of humankind.
Yeah, and not really knowing why things work, just knowing that they work.
Yeah, and like the surgeons were like poor.
Yeah, the surgeons. No, a surgeon was like a tradesman. He's like a carpenter.
Yeah,
like
it's so bizarre to me.
Yeah, and they were at this point they were called barbers.
Oh,
you can get your hair cut, set a bone, pull out a couple of teeth, good to go. All the same guy.
Good with scissors.
Yeah, very good with scissors.
I just can't wait to go to my Amazon dentist surgeon gun store. It is going to be so much fun to have it all happen again because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. All one place, one-stop shop.
Yep.
Rise from your grave.
The first few weeks back at school set the tone for the rest of the year. iExcel helps kids build confidence and get up to speed fast. iExcel is an award-winning learning platform that helps kids truly understand what they're learning, whether they're building math confidence, strengthening reading and writing skills, or reviewing science concepts. We know our little Carmelita is doing extremely well in chemistry, to the point where we're almost concerned. Her experiments are taking her to the edge of knowledge and bringing her to questions of not whether she can do what she wants to do, but whether she should. And Wendy's learning a lot about the Civil War. And from pre-K through 12th grade, IXL offers personalized interactive learning that adapts to each child's level and pace. Like it balances Wendy's love of chicken with her love of the Civil War. But it's still wonderful what IXL helps her to get leaps and bounds beyond the other children at school. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the United States. 96 of the top 100! Studies show kids who use IXL score higher on tests, and also higher on whether or not they're going to get any snackies after their main dinner. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Last Podcast on the Left listeners can get exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/left. Visit IXL.com/left to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. Summer means freedom. And for adults, summer means work next to freedom. But thanks to Mint Mobile's summer sale, it can almost feel like the work is playtime for the adults. Right now, all of Mint's plans are $15 per month, even unlimited. Free yourself from big wireless and switch to Mint Mobile for high-speed data and coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. It's so well connected, I could call from anywhere, deep from well within my bunker, where my AI-fueled robots slowly but surely toil for me, but I know for a fact I'm saving money on my phone plan, or up above, where I'm training all of my giant Amazon female warriors who will fight in bulletproof mesh. Also, honestly, Mint Mobile's really cheap and it's really reliable, so you should use it. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 per 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. You tired of spending way too much time trying to figure out your finances? Welcome to the club. Rocket Money makes it easy. Like Sunday morning. With Rocket Money, you can track subscriptions and have the ability to cancel unwanted ones in just a few taps. You know how many times I subscribed to mustard clubs? Those mustards, they are not cheap. You can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights and regular reports, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, refunds, and low balances, all in the Rocket Money app. Why don't you get yourself some ketchup, some relish, with all that money you're saving? Maybe a hot dog, if you got a death wish. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals easier. Join at rocketmoney.com/LPOTL. That's rocketmoney.com/LPOTL. rocketmoney.com/LPOTL.
And so now we get to the point where the Batavia is 6 months into its journey and they're putting in at the Cape of Good Hope. But when I say that the Batavia put in at the Cape of Good Hope, I don't mean that they stopped off at a rough and tumble port town for 2 weeks of booze and women. Instead, VOC policy called for camping in tents on the beach so the sick could be given a chance to recover and so the upper merchant could trade with the local South African tribes to beef up their food supplies.
You got to put it in the VOC's terminology, Marcus. It's like each one of our incredible, intrepid members of our VOC family get to experience a luxurious beachside accommodation in the beautiful, beautiful skies of Southern Africa.
Not South Africa, Southern Africa.
Southern Africa, yeah. Because the whole thing was it was cheap, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to make sure that they didn't stop for long.
Yeah.
They had to go. And so everybody else had to stay on the boat. All the captains got to stay on the boat.
Yeah. And you also don't want to have to spend a lot of time gathering up all your guys from all the bars and taverns around the port town. Like, you don't want to give them a whole lot to do.
Yeah. They disappear, I imagine.
Yeah, it's wild. Just sitting in that beach, the whole thing, it's very dangerous. It's, in fact, it's intense.
I give you that one. That was good. That was good. I really like that one. That I really enjoyed. Now, even though Upper Merchant Pelsart was talented with languages, he had a difficult time communicating with the local tribe when they put in at the Cape of Good Hope. And since it took him a while to negotiate, mischief began to brew back on the water in the Batavia 7-ship flotilla. See, Captain Jacobs and Euronymous Cornelis had become friendly during their 6 months at sea. And while Upper Merchant Pelsart was on land bartering for sheep...
I need 2 sheep! Look at my mouth! Fluffy! White sheep! I need a sheep! You know what I'm saying?
That is actually how they ended up having to communicate, with miming and yelling. Yeah. Well, Captain Jacobs and Euronymous had commandeered one of the Batavia's rowboats, and they started hopping from ship to ship to enjoy the hospitality of every ship in the flotilla.
Hey, let's go over there. I heard that one guy's got feet that smells like oranges. Hey, man, let's go check out the other fucking boat, dude. They got a thing called a tortilla chip.
But much like a man who hits half a dozen holiday parties in one night and goes hard at each and every one, Captain Jacobs soon became drunk and belligerent, starting fights, talking shit, and acting in a manner, quote, most beastly, as Upper Merchant Pelsart put it in his journals.
Well, and I was joking about this with Marcus about how beastly do you have to be kicked out of a party on a boat that's tied up waiting to go to the Indies. Like imagining how rough that party must already be, because they all go into the wine stores because they bring wine and booze with them, so they allow them to have extra rations like during this time period. That's
only the upper class, though. The soldiers and the sailors get nothing.
They get nothing. So, that party was crazy to begin with.
It's that whole lesson where it's like, never get too drunk at an open bar you're not paying for.
Yeah. That's actually that's a very good rule.
Well, nothing will always remind me. We used to do that one show at a place called Sound Fix, and the producers of that show thought it was such a good idea to have a 6 to 7 p.m. open bar before the show, and it was impossible.
Yes.
It was literally an impossible show to perform.
We were performers / bouncers.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as such, by the time Upper Merchant Pelsart was back on the Batavia with supplies after securing a deal with the locals, the other 6 ships had already lodged several complaints about the behavior of Captain Jacobs and his little pleasure cruise. Now, the actions of Captain Jacobs were bad for Upper Merchant Pelsart on a couple of levels. Yes, having a drunk and violent captain in charge of the flagship was not a good look, but the more serious offense here was taking a boat without Pelsart's permission. Stealing the boat broke the chain of command set up by the VOC that ensured nothing happened on a ship without the say-so of a representative. So Captain Jacobs had to be punished.
Borrowing the boat.
Sure.
The boat.
But the more I get into this story, the more I'm realizing that Pelsart was kind of running the Batavia in a candy-ass fashion by VOC standards.
We talked a little about this, and I think it's because leadership revolves around social contracts that quickly dissolve when you move away from the center of powers that hold those contracts in their hands, right? So when you go out in the middle of the ocean, if you can't rule with an iron fist, you better be well liked, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll find that fear is a lot more effective out in the open water.
If you're too nice,
love.
people try and kill you.
Yeah. Well, for the crime of stealing a boat and physically fighting crews on other ships, Jacobs got away with just getting chewed out thoroughly in Upper Merchant Pelsart's cabins, where Jacobs was basically told that he was getting too big for his britches.
Do I have to make your britches bigger? Do I have to go and get bigger britches for you, sir? All right, because right now it seems that your belly button is extending past your britches so far that I'm going to have to spank your belly.
Oh, you spank me, you big fucking bitch.
I feel like I'm using metaphors and I shouldn't. You're in trouble, is what I'm saying. Okay?
Just looking
you
like
listen to me.
Cartoon mouse stuck in a whiskey bottle.
You I need you to focus. Focus.
No, I mean, he basically gave him a listen here, mister.
Yeah.
He chewed him out very thoroughly, but in these sorts of situations, a verbal reprimand was actually far less than what VOC policy called for. While swearing, blasphemy, and drunkenness earned an employee a fine, insubordination, violent threats, or violent acts were met with more violence or on-ship imprisonment. For a simple fight, a sailor on a VOC ship could be shackled by the hands and feet, then thrown into a cell too small to stand or lie down. This cell was on the bow of the gun deck, and the constant sound of the wind whistling through the cell slats for weeks on end was known to drive men to the brink of insanity.
Meanwhile, during the Santa Ana winds, I'm sleeping like a babe.
Yeah.
The winds knocked me out. I don't know what happened. I was so relaxed.
But if a sailor took his fight to the next level and pulled out a knife, the VOC policy escalated as well. Their written guidelines said that a knife-happy sailor should be nailed to the mast with his knife stabbed through his hand, and the sailor could only leave once he pulled his own hand off without removing the knife first.
See, it's stern, but fair.
So he can't wiggle the knife off?
Well, yeah, that's actually what he's expected to do.
Yeah, you have to go
Yeah.
It hurts.
With his other hand tied behind his back, the sailor had the choice to either wiggle the knife. I mean, that's the thing. The knife is in so deep that you can't wiggle the knife off. You have to wiggle your hand to make the wound bigger so you can fit the knife through the wound.
Handle and all?
Handle and all.
That's a big hole.
Yeah, it's a very, very large hole.
And
Or you could also just rip your hand down in one swift motion and basically cut it in half.
Oh, I see.
Either way, you're never working as a sailor ever again.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But he could be a pirate.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a pirate, but that's the thing. To be a pirate, you still got to be a pretty good seaman.
Yeah, but they're missing limbs.
But that's actually more in pop culture representation.
Oh, really? That wasn't reality?
A lot of them were pretty, it was a career. It's funny. You think about it, we always think about it kind of Pirates of the Caribbean style, but it was also, weirdly like a job, too.
I watched Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest to, get ready for this episode, and it had nothing to do with it.
No.
It was across the other side of the world. Yep.
It's kind of in the name.
Yeah.
Pirates of the...
I know, but I Googled what movies have the Dutch West Indies Company in it. And they're like, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. I was like, all right, I'll watch that. That seems like fun. I like Johnny Depp. Yeah. And then I put it on. It's fucking British.
It's pretty bad.
The British.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah, Google's broken.
Yeah, but the Kraken's fucking rock and roll.
It's very cool, yeah.
I love the Kraken. We should do an episode on the Kraken. Should we stop?
Yeah.
How dare you?
But that's all to say that when you consider what Pelsart was given permission to do, Captain Jacobs should have been thankful for getting off with just a verbal warning. Because from what it seems like to me, Pelsart probably didn't want to deal with the logistical pain in the ass of punishing the captain, because punishing him would naturally slow down the journey. And Pelsart's trying to get his fucking nut in. He's trying to fucking make it.
This has to get done.
Yeah.
And it needs to be done efficiently.
And quickly.
Yes, and it needs to be by the book. He is under a lot of fucking pressure. They're going to put him in a horrible place if he doesn't get this right. So I feel like it's also, you're in the middle of the ocean. You just fought with this guy the last time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At this point, you're like, I don't want to fight with you, bro.
Yeah.
I just need to get your shit together so we can get this done with.
Also, this might be a stupid question, but who takes over if he has to kill the captain?
Probably the boatswain.
Okay, yes.
We'll get to him in a bit.
All right, great.
But word soon spread amongst the crew that Upper Merchant Pelsart had ripped Captain Jacobs a new asshole in the Upper Merchant's quarters, which may have been more humiliating for Captain Jacobs than if he'd just taken his lumps physically.
I had bent in front of him, and I told him, you be a man, and you spank the hell out of me. Right?
Take me.
You take me. You master me. All right, I say in there, you treat me like a dog. I'll be my father. And he didn't have the guts.
Did that usually happen on ships you've been on?
Yeah. Treated like a little boy.
Yeah.
Being trained to be a man. The opposite way.
You ever been canoed on a canoe?
You ever been pegged by a peg leg?
Well, Because Jacobs was humiliated, he naturally started talking shit about his supervisor. And who else would be there with a sympathetic ear but the captain's new buddy, under merchant Euronymous Cornelis?
These Zoomers think they know everything. Well, we used to fight boats ourselves. I used to just hit a boat with my hands if I wanted to.
Now, without the influence of Euronymous, Captain Jacobs would have probably just grumbled a bit before putting on his big boy pants to finish out his last voyage at sea.
God damn it, all right. This boat ain't gonna sail itself. Let's go, boys. Get somebody else to spank me.
But when Jacobs told Euronymous during a conversation on the upper deck that he had half a mind to kill upper merchant Pelsart and make himself master of Batavia, Euronymous paused for a long while, then asked how one would go about doing such a thing.
It's such a cinematic moment in history because it's real. It's right. This is lifted right from the witness recollection. It's great.
Yeah. And so Euronymous and Captain Jacobs began selling each other a fantasy where they would take the Batavia and its riches for themselves.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the spanking. I'm going to be doing the bridge building, bridge buying, and telling people how big they should be, and how big the bridges are, and how they fit, and what legs they go in first.
Yeah, the plan is just to get bridges that are a lot larger so then you can grow into them.
The idea is to create room for growth Lebensstraumen within the bridges.
Well, before long, Euronymous and Captain Jacobs had sketched out a plan where they'd use the might and riches of the Batavia to become pirates operating out of Madagascar.
This is like two guys on coke talking about opening a restaurant. Yeah. This whole thing is like, because it's such a far-flung, it's just like, I have an idea. We'll take all the money, and then we're pirates.
Yeah. It's like a couple of kids,
Yes.
you know? But the plan was about after a year or two of plundering and such, they, along with their mutinous crew, would all retire as wealthy men somewhere out of the VOC's reach.
You heard you remember when you used to deal weed? You heard all those guys' fantasies, but they're going to get out and they're going to go and they're going to turn into a DJ or going to turn into a mandala designer.
They were all DJs.
Yes, they're going to take that weed money and they're going to flip it to a sword store.
As far as everyone else on the ship went, Euronymous and Captain Jacobs figured, fuck them, we'll figure it out. Now, it's hard to tell if Euronymous was plotting a mutiny all along or if it was an idle thought that was given opportunity. But it's clear that once a mutiny became a real possibility, Euronymous was going to do everything in his power to stoke the fires of Jacobs' resentment.
There's a little part of me that wonders if in the back of his head, that if he remembered where he came from in a way. And he's like...
Euronymous?
Yes. Like, my people, the legacy of my people and my religion...
The Anabaptists.
Yes, is to go and to form our own home. Make Zion where we stand, right? Like, bring people to us. Create a home for Anabaptists. I think he's got a little Elron.
Maybe.
He's got a little LRH in his head of like...
Oh, you just say that because he likes boats.
It's close to that way. But he doesn't like boats. LRH doesn't like boats that much. He was forced to live on a boat. He chose the boat lifestyle. The boat lifestyle chose Euronymous. And where it's like, I think that this guy, like, there's a little part of me that wonders, he's like, out here, I can be the Pope.
Sure.
Yeah. And Euronymous is, just to remind me, is a merchant, right?
Yeah, he's an under merchant.
Under merchant.
Yes.
On the boat, but in real life, he was a pharmacist, but bad one.
Yeah, drug dealer.
Yeah. So, basically, he's going to the Indies so he can make some deals with somebody to, set up some trade to, bring money back to, set up profit lines for the VOC. But as far as his mutiny went, getting a high-ranking sailor on your side was the hard part. The lower-ranking sailors and the soldiers on a VOC ship, they were always primed for mutiny, especially near the end of the journey, because as bad as conditions were at the outset, they only got worse the longer the ship was at sea. See, even though the Batavia was one of the largest and most advanced ships of its age, it still only had 4 latrines for its 341 passengers and crew. But, as it usually goes, 2 of those latrines were reserved for the relatively small number of upper-class passengers and higher-ranking officials, maybe a few dozen people. The rest of the ship, numbering in the hundreds, had to share the other 2 latrines, which latrines, in this case, were pretty much holes in the deck that had to be used in full view of everyone.
Hey, sometimes we close our eyes. Because when it's a big fat guy, sometimes I close my eyes and I imagine me father. But sometimes when it's a skinny lady, sometimes I close my eyes and I think of my mother.
Whose name was also Latrine.
Yeah, it used to be shit out. Good change. Good change.
Now, they also, the thing about the latrines were they couldn't use them whenever they wanted.
No.
So they only had like a half hour a day to go fucking shit and piss.
The soldiers, at least. Yeah. Because they were kept underneath in the orlop until they were brought up twice a day for, a long line of men shitting and pissing in the same hole.
Speaking of that,
you got to go to the bathroom?
I have to go to the bathroom.
All right,
And that's
use your hole.
And we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Live from your grave.
So a lot of people super worried about investing. I understand. Money's fake. And you're like, why can't I just pull all my money out of the bank, turn it into essentially smelted precious metals, place them up inside of my anal cavity in order to get across the various country lines? I understand you. I'm with you. I'm like you. But things like Acorn showed me it's okay to invest. Give your money a chance to grow with financial wellness app Acorns. Sign up in minutes and start automatically investing your spare money, whether it's a little or it's a lot, especially if it's a little. And the Acorns potential screen will show you the power of compounding and how your money can grow over time. I'm actually not joking here. Investing money as early as you can is super important. I heard early on a piece of advice that said it's not how much you put in the market, it's how long you are in the market for. All right, so go and do it. Sign up now and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time consumers who have already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/left or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as customers' accounts, age, investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results do not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/left.
Woo-hoo! Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeehaw! Bang! 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 Bang!
Man, we got our Omaha steak boxes in today.
My Omaha steak box arrived, 4-hour personal experience, and I gotta say, just opening it up made me excited. The steam of the dry ice, the gleam of all of the meat products. And you know what it has is one of my favorite things is my selection. It's because obviously I love a big steak, but they do get the little baby steaks, the little sirloins, those little poppers. You could eat 3 or 4 of them in a go.
They're like if steaks were oysters.
That's like my favorite because they're good for breakfast. You can do 5 or 6 in a go. Go to Omaha Steaks. This is not even just yeah, sure they gave us meat, and yeah, sure they pay us money, but honestly, they're really good meat.
Yeah, you like fat dogs, and I ain't talking about regular dogs. I'm talking about these hot dogs. Man, those hot dogs, they're big chunky.
They are thick as Andre the Giant's fingers.
Honestly, I'm worried about where I'm going to get a bun that can support these thick dogs.
I'll show you where to get one.
Thank you.
Try the Burger Perfection flight at omahasteaks.com today. That's 20 premium steak burgers for just $79.99. Plus get $35 off with promo code LEFT. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code LEFT for $35 off at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Go and get yourself some meat.
Hey there, all you Quinceaholics. Oh, I feel so good. I got the breeze coming through my linen pants and my linen shirt. Oh, it's too hot for my cashmere sweater. Thank God I got this wonderful undershirt and sunglasses to keep my eyeballs safe from the radiation of a star that's trying to kill all of us. I digress. Listen. Quince has got anything you need. They're going to help you out. They're going to change your life. You like simple, plain, good-looking clothes with high-quality fabrics? Quince your hiney. Get in there. Take care of yourself. Be good to you and dress like a prince when you're wearing your quince. I got a silver chain. Woo! Doctor, I got a silver chain. It looks great. You can get anything you want. They have gold bars. All right. You want to buy a gold bar? Quince got a gold bar. All right. You go get that for yourself. You treat yourself nice and you dress even better. Upgrade your everyday. Go to quince.com/last for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/last for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/last.
Can I go on the ship, Marcus?
No, get out of here, mouse.
No.
Get out of here, little mouse.
We're going to get to the rat.
I want to be on the ship.
No, little mouse. No, stay home. Get a cookie.
Okay, so now that you shit, let's get back to the shits.
Thank you.
Each latrine had one long rope supposedly sanitized by the ocean dangling from the hole.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
my ocean rope.
Yeah, here at LPN. Yeah, the salt rope.
We just have one wet rope I run between our cheeks, and then we all check each other. You guys do that with I check Gurney, Ed checks Rob to make sure we're clean.
Yeah.
And Rob is fucking spotless.
And that's why he's our producer.
Well, hundreds of people would use this salt rope to floss their butts before handing it to the next guy.
Ooh, thanks.
Well, I guess you dip it down into like kind of swish it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I washed it for you. Sorry, things got a little messy.
Who didn't wash the rope? Who didn't wash the rope?
I'm just gonna say I might have had a legume too many last night. Anyways, better go deal with the sails. I hate that guy. I hate loose stool Tim.
But when it was too dangerous to use the latrines during bad weather, the soldiers and seamen relieved themselves in corners, or even worse, crouched over ladders that led down to the holds where they lived. That I didn't get. I read that passage over and over again in Batavia's graveyard, trying to figure out what the function of perching on a ladder so the Duke could splat down harder. What the logic was in that.
There's a little thing about being human. Yeah. And just
taking the little pleasures where you can get them.
Yeah, it's boredom.
You gotta see it plop.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a sailor, I imagine you're shitting on the soldiers.
No, the soldiers are in their own hold. Yeah, the soldiers are down in the orlop, the sailors are up in the gun deck.
That's what I'm saying. They probably made a hole from the gun deck to the orlop.
They wouldn't be shitting on the guys with the guns.
No. Well, this was particularly a problem, shitting off of the ladders and going in corners. This became a big problem when the Batavia's pumps got going during the same bad weather. The pumps would bring all the urine, liquid shits, and rainwater that had leaked down into the bilges. But instead of pushing all that directly out to sea, the men who designed the Batavia had the disgusting mixture slosh through the sailors' sleeping quarters first until it found an open port or sluice. Now, I could only...
Sluice.
Yeah.
The term sluice.
Almost every word in this episode, including Euronymous, is hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, I can only imagine what sort of horrible shits these sailors and soldiers were taking.
Yeah.
Because their diet was not what you'd call balanced.
Just all salt.
Tell me, do you guys have acai? Does anybody, where's the motherfucker supposed to get a poke bowl?
While the highest rank ate only the best food, sailors and soldiers ate cask meat, legumes, and hardtack.
But I do feel like even the good food that the officers got to eat couldn't have been that good by the end. It's but they had to bring them they used to bake them turkeys, and do all this big extravagant meals.
Yeah, for the first week.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's just whatever fish you can catch.
Probably.
Yeah, but the fish never made it to the men. The fish never made it to the men down at the bottom. The fish were all reserved for the people up top.
The used fish made it down to the men.
Yes, that's what I call my shit as well.
Used fish.
Well, as far as what the sailors and soldiers ate, cask meat was heavily cured and dried meat pickled by boiling it in brine or vinegar, while hardtack, a cracker-like food used by armies and sailors throughout history, that had to be soaked in seawater before eating. Otherwise, it could crack a sailor's already fragile teeth.
Wouldn't that just make them crazy?
What?
having all that seawater?
It wasn't good for them.
No, it's not good for you. It kills you.
Yeah.
It's very bad for you.
Yeah. Well, the hardtack on the Batavia was also teeming with insects. And while some sailors would tap the rations on the side of the ship to dislodge bugs before eating, some came to like the added ingredient and could even tell which bug was which by taste and texture.
Hey, man, you got to do something on that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the scurvy made them blind. So that's the only way they couldn't tell the difference between the bugs.
I think I got a good one. It's a ladybug. Taste. Bad ladybug.
Oh, hold on. Don't clean that. I want that back.
Yeah, here, take my mouth. Yes, it's good. It's my used ladybug.
Yes, yes. Whatever we don't eat, we'll use this lube.
Yes, for the fucking. That's what he means. For when we're having sex.
I didn't realize that lube is such a pirate word.
Yeah, lube.
Yar, make sure before we set out to fill up the lube cask.
Got to. We've got to keep it a full to the very brim.
15 barrels of lube on this ship.
My favorite flavor, strawberry kiwi.
It really helps me take the oar.
Well, concerning the tastes and textures of bugs, weevils were bitter, while maggots were spongy and cold.
Yeah.
But big, juicy cockroaches were considered a treat because they were described as vaguely resembling sausage.
Vaguely.
The word vaguely is doing a lot of work on that thing.
Yeah, because you're just crazy and you haven't seen a sausage for months.
Yeah.
It's kind of dark. Yeah. Sausage. And it's full of juice.
Yeah, little poppers.
Yeah.
But while this sounds awful, the Batavia was actually considered pretty high class by 17th century standards, but only because the crew always ate something 3 times a day. Now, besides meals at 8, noon, and 6, the only thing that broke up the mind-numbing boredom for the sailors on board was the entertainment they created themselves. While they did engage in stereotypically manly pursuits like fistfights for sport, they were also vicious gossips, and even put on theatrical performances if they were so inclined.
That's the only thing I like about Loose Stool Tim. He knows a lot of songs that make me cry. Then I get angry being sad. But then I get happy, thinking I had the ability to be angry in the first place. And that means I'm alive. Thank you, Loose Stool Tim. Oh, he's dead.
It was a lot of fun, but the Late Show guest just kept repeating.
Oh, yes, very. Oh, God. You think Joe Rogan has the same 4 guys in it?
The sailors also played games, the most interesting of which being the execution game. Now, from what we can tell, this was a sailored-up version of an innocent 17th century parlor game called Forfeits. In Forfeits, all participants began the game by putting a personal object in a box, and once the objects are collected, one person is selected as a judge. Once the judge sits down, an object is taken out of the box and held above the judge's head, so the judge can't see what it is. The person who owns the object is then told to come forward, where they would basically be engaged in a game of truth or dare with the judge so they could get their object back. Like the judge would say, like, "Yar, if you want your thing back, you're gonna need to dance me a jig. Come on, loose stool Tim, dance the jig."
This is our new Twitch show.
This is our new, we have to use this. Forfeits! Yeah, because you could see Loose Stool Tim being like, finally, I knew I'd be able to perform on this boat.
He's having too much fun. Let's run him through.
And so, after the player has done or not done what the judge has asked, the judge decides whether the person deserves to reobtain what they'd put in the box in the first place. But to make it more interesting, sailors gave the judge the option to also tar the player if he wasn't satisfied. Well, as such, forfeits became so dangerous in the hands of sailors that it could only be played with the express permission of the captain. I suppose if the voyage was going so well that he felt the men all deserved a little treat.
Yeah, I guess you guys can all beat the shit out of each other. I know you like it. I love to see it. Oh, good quail. Oh, I'm so glad I could eat this 6-month-old quail.
A truth or dare on between sailors on this horrible ship.
What secrets could they possibly have?
Okay.
They're all like raping each other in front of each other.
Arr. Truth or dare?
Truth
Okay. Do you have a crush on Steven? No. Let's stab his hands into the grass. Yeah, cut off his butt. He's forfeited. No, I don't. No, Steven, it's true.
Now, obviously, the sailors on the Batavia played fast and loose with their own lives, but that was partly because they all knew they could die any day in dozens of equally horrible ways. Most, however, died by disease brought on board by rats and insects. Author Mike Dash described the hold of the Batavia as an empire of rats, hundreds, if not thousands of them, that only multiplied as the voyage went on. Knowing that food could sometimes be found on the other side of the wall, rats would chew through the hull not knowing there was only water waiting, and the leaks the rats caused had to constantly be filled by the ship's caulkers.
Dude, rats can chew through anything. When I was working at the Poorhouse in a restaurant in New York City, they would literally chew through the brick walls and through like kitchens are lined with metal.
Yeah.
They would chew through that. And then we would have to fill it with those metal scrubbies.
Yeah.
We used to call them space pussies because you open them up and it's like a metal little vagina.
Yeah.
And,
That's fun. That's real fun.
Talk,
Yeah.
we'd stick those in the wall and then we'd caulk that up and then eat through that fucking shit.
Yeah, dude. Now, rats are incredible because it's just like if one rat breaks all his teeth, the next rat comes up and takes the job.
Yes, I love to eat your teeth.
Thank
you so much.
Meanwhile, I was just thinking of ship cockers.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about a guy fucking a bunch of guys on a boat.
Caulkers.
I fill the hole with me.
It's not helping. You're just fucking old Davy's locker.
I'm almost done. I can't do it while you talk.
But with rats come lice. And with lice, especially in the 17th century, one had to contend with the Black Plague, which could kill dozens on one of these ships, if not hundreds. To make matters just that much worse, the sleeping quarters were also infested with bed bugs. And that was just the vermin that the Batavia had left the Netherlands with. That was baseline.
Yeah.
Ships could also pick up native insects anytime they stopped in a port. Within days, those insects would rapidly multiply and spread typhus. Sometimes captains would offer brandy as a reward to the best bug killers. So an endless army of several tens of thousands of insects would be crushed every few days.
Oh, that's nice. That works.
Yeah, no, someone's got to do it.
Yeah. But that's all to say that this was the life a sailor or soldier had to look forward to for less than a living wage. So the men of the Batavia had little to lose by participating in a mutiny. All they needed was someone to give them permission.
Because it's important to remember that there's more of you than them. Mm-hmm. You can win.
The biggest moral quandary of a mutiny, however, was presented by the other people on board the ship, the passengers. The Batavia had plenty of civilians aboard who were just trying to make their way to the Indies, including numerous children and 22 women. These women and children were either the families of men aboard or they were traveling to meet their husbands in the Indies. Now, for a while, wife delivery was a pretty good side business for the VOC, who usually capped the number of women at 20 because they only sprung for one single company chaperone per ship to look after them.
It's bad luck to have ladies on a boat. Well, it's not really bad luck as much as you can't trust the men.
Is it because of the menstruations?
Yeah.
No, because the men just become monsters.
No,
yeah, because that's what happened.
Silly.
Yeah. But after the repeated rape of many women by hundreds of sailors during these types of voyages, the company ended the service, with few exceptions like the Batavia.
Can't they just put them? They should put little penis locks on them.
Yeah.
Or get an all-lady fleet. That wouldn't happen.
Honestly, sisters are selling it for themselves. I can see that. Okay. All-lady VOC trip. All right. I smell Kristen Wiig vehicle.
Yeah, you're fucking laughing until next year you're going to see Lady Pirates on HBO Max.
I'm fine with it. At least it's not IP.
Yeah. We're going to make the Batavia the labia.
Whoa, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Now, prevent rape on the Batavia, the women were kept segregated. I don't know. There's no way to fucking come out of that. There's no way to come back into that. I know it's really hard. It's like joking. Yeah. It's like there's just no way. That's why I put it in the middle of a paragraph instead of in the beginning
But now
of
you
one.
got to start over with it.
Yeah. No. Well, to prevent...
Do you want me to say it?
Well, the women were kept segregated from the majority of the sailors and soldiers, but that segregation did not extend to VOC officers. As such, one woman in particular on this voyage, a woman who would play an involuntary role in the mutiny to come, she caught the eye of the famously horny upper merchant Francisco Pelsart.
Because you remember, his Achilles heel was in his balls.
Yes. That woman was the unusually beautiful Cresia Jansdokter, 27 years old when the Batavia set sail.
Yeah, I know I am too pretty to be on this boat.
Honestly, it is like the worst place to be hot.
Yeah,
honestly,
it is.
I blame myself for just being here. I should not be here. I am too hot.
Now, it's thought that Cresia had stayed behind in the Netherlands to raise her 3 children when her husband joined the VOC. But after all her kids died before the age of 6, she decided to roll the dice and join her husband in the Indies.
It's sort of like, kind of like the angel of death gave me my groove back. And it just allowed me to go live my best life in the Indies.
She's too hot to be a mom.
That's what he was saying.
My hotness killed all of my kids. Oh, my God.
Oh, God. He was just telling me, you're ruining your body with all of this. So I'm just going to go out there and I guess get railed in Indies.
Now, Captain Jacobs had repeatedly tried to seduce Cresia, even though he was a married man.
You're prettier than the last whore I had sex with. I'm sorry. I'm just angry. I'm an awful man. I'm bad at this.
He would have been great. The coach from Major League.
Oh, even better than Nick Nolte.
It's that guy.
Yeah. But when Cresia rebuffed Captain Jacob's advances, the captain turned his attentions to Cresia's servant. As it turned out, the servant was fully game to be the captain's on-ship girlfriend. And in private, they gossiped about how much they both hated the high-born Cresia Jansdokter. And it got even worse after Cresia started gravitating towards upper merchant Francisco Pelsart.
Oh, yeah, dude, because, she also definitely needed protection because something was going on. Like, when she started watching her nursemaid fall in, like... So, I guess...
She wasn't a nursemaid because she didn't have any kids.
It's whatever she was. She was a servant, yeah. They called her the nurse. That was like one of those Shakespearean titles that they have or whatever. But there's just something to, like, there's boatmances.
Sure.
Boatmances happen.
Yeah.
Sea wife.
People have sea wives. But the thing about this one is that it kind of gets out of control.
Yeah.
It's that for some reason, this lady, she was doing something.
Well, they said she was unusually beautiful for the time.
Whoa, no, I'm talking about the nurse.
Oh, the servant.
See,
let's not get the names mixed up.
I'm sorry. The servant, she essentially... You remember I said during the Fred and Rosemary West series that sometimes you're only as hot as what you're willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
That's this lady. This lady knows, if I want to get a special cut, I've got to goggle the balls. You know what I mean? Like, this is a lady doing it a special.
Now, the relationship between the servant and Captain Jacobs only fueled the fires when it came to the captain getting more comfortable with the idea of a mutiny. But if he and Euronymous were to fail, the punishments were the most severe the VOC had to offer. See, despite the VOC's harsh treatment of their employees, full mutinies were incredibly rare in company history. Between 1602 and 1628, there had been just 6 serious mutinies, none of which were successful. Usually, general unrest amongst the crew resulted in small protests met with brief compromise. But once the VOC regained control, they would execute the leaders or punish them in a variety of increasingly brutal ways that would discourage further complaint.
They really tried to stop any thought of mutinies.
No, or any thought of organization in any way whatsoever. Like, if anyone, if they started complaining and they started getting together, it's like, like unions were hundreds of years away.
Yeah.
But this is like the beginning of that, and also a time when, the companies, these corporations, like when you tried to organize, you'd be murdered.
Yeah, I mean, they're just straight up killing people and stabbing their hands to the mast. Like, what could the torture for this be that everyone's scared of it?
Aha! The most common punishment for a mutineer was 200 lashes, punctuated by splashes of seawater that would both disinfect the wound and burn like hell. For many sailors, having their backs turned into a bleeding gummy mush was eventually fatal. If the VOC wanted to get more dramatic, though, mutineers, while still at sea, were sometimes dropped from the yardarm, which is the crossbar on the mast that holds up the ship's sails. After lead weights were tied to the mutineer's feet, he was taken up the yardarm, where his arms would be tied with a rope, and the other end of the rope would be tied to the post. He would then be dropped 40 feet, and when the rope reached its end, the weights would dislocate the mutineer's shoulders and usually break his arms and wrists in the process.
Bit of a crick in the back.
Like, I could see it feeling really good for half a second.
Maybe.
Yeah, but then you just become useless. Why not kill him?
Well, it's because you want to show everyone else what sort of horrible death you're going to die if you do this. And that's the thing. It's like or not even sort of horrible death, because that guy would be left there to scream and scream and scream for a very long time.
For months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's what it was really about, showing everyone else, making an example of you.
Man, I bet afterwards, some guy's screaming for days. I imagine they just beat the shit out of him at some point.
Oh, of course. They probably just do the old thing where they put the hand over the mouth, and they pinch the nose and just slowly suffocate them to death.
Yeah, kill them in the night.
Yeah. But being thrown off the yardarm was not the worst punishment. Above them all was keel hauling.
Yay, keel hauling! Yay, my favorite!
Which, not surprisingly, was a Dutch invention. When a man was keel-hauled, his arms were first tied together above his head and his legs were bound. One end of a very long rope was passed under the keel, while the other end of the rope was tied to the mutineer's arms. The mutineer was then tossed overboard, and by using the rope tied to his arms, he was pulled from one side of the ship to the other over and over again as the ship continued its forward momentum. Now,
so under the boat?
Under the boat, yes. Now, in theory, keel hauling was supposed to just be a terrifying and deeply unpleasant experience, because at this point in history, only 1 man in 7 on a VOC ship actually knew how to swim. Think about that for a second. Yeah. You're on the ship, all these sailors, 1 in 7 knows how to swim. 6 out of 7 of them if they fall in the water, they're fucking dead.
It's because waters work. I don't. When I'm not working, I'm walking.
Yeah.
And if I'm not rolling on the waves, I'm sitting. I hate the water. It's my enemy, but it's also my love. But I'm afraid of it. But it's also given me everything I've ever got.
I'm too poor to learn how to swim.
But in practice, once the mutineer was dragged from side to side underneath the ship, he would either be cut to pieces by barnacles on the ship's hull, or his head would actually fall off after being smashed into the side of the ship over and over again.
And they're like, now I hope you have learned your lesson. Oh, no. Oh, is his head supposed to collapse? Can we get some sort of inflatable? Is that inflatable to fix this man's head? Because we take off 45 minutes from now.
Also, barnacle are fucking crazy sharp.
Yeah.
I remember one time, I saw a guy fall off a pier type of thing, and everyone was out there fishing and shit. And then when he tried to get back on, scraped his hand on barnacle, and it fucking sliced it open, and you could see the bone and shit. Yeah. It was fucking wild.
Yeah, man. No, it'll kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the VOC didn't necessarily want their employees dead. So to prevent death by keel hauling, VOC ships were equipped with special leather harnesses, actual company torture devices that were designed to keep the mutineer alive for 3 full rounds of keel hauling before the punishment was deemed complete.
Now this time, don't die.
Yes.
All right.
All right, here's your leather strap, and don't forget your snorkel.
Okay. And remember, this is unpleasant, but we don't want it to be entirely so. All right? So enjoy.
Yeah, they would do that. They'd give him a little sponge that he could bite down on for the pain.
This will help you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, just remember, this hurts us more than it hurts you. All right? Kill hauling, please.
Now, these punishments would have been well known to Captain Jacobs and the entire crew. So Jacobs and Euronymous had to be very careful about who they brought into this plot. But one by one, they began collecting all the right men to pull it off, and their plan was put into motion the moment they set sail for the final leg of their journey to the Indies. Now, before they did anything, they first had to separate the Batavia from the rest of the VOC flotilla, because if shit went down on the Batavia, the other 6 ships would quickly come to its aid. So, as soon as the Batavia left the Cape of Good Hope in Africa, Captain Jacobs very simply allowed the ship to drift away from the rest of the convoy. Now, nobody really paid any attention to this because ships got separated all the time due to differences in quality and sailing speed. So once the Batavia was out of the rest of the fleet's range, Euronymous and Captain Jacobs began gathering men for the mutiny to come. So at this point, the Batavia has started with 14 ships, it's it and 13 others. Then it gets taken down to the Batavia and 6 other ships. And now, after leaving the Cape of Good Hope, the Batavia is all alone.
Yeah, and the Batavia, it's easy for it to become alone because it's fast as hell, right?
Yeah. And it's just, and what they say is because it's so common for them to drift in and out, like for a while, they probably don't even think about it.
Yeah. Well, amongst the first mutineers recruited was the ship's boatswain, who was in charge of the ship's sails, rigging, and anchors. The boatswain was more or less the second highest ranking sailor on the ship, a master seaman who'd worked his way from the bottom and had, in the progress, become one of the toughest customers on board. In his normal day-to-day, the boatswain would lash at his men with a tarred rope called a starter, so the men were conditioned to follow his orders. Once the boatswain was recruited, Euronymous now had the 2 most senior seamen on the Batavia on his side, and the numbers grew exponentially from there. But while the boatswain and the captain were good at recruiting the sailors, Euronymous was able to expand their numbers to include the other classes on the ship. Most important, however, were the soldiers, easily the most dangerous men aboard the ship.
I say when I was listening to the Dan Carlin Hardcore History episode about the Munster Revolution, there was a thing that he said that I thought was fascinating, that this is kind of how it works, where you got to remember, before mass information, things and people getting new ideas was so, it was amazing new thing at the time for an idea to spread virally, right? Because of the printing press, all this stuff coming out, it spread ideas. So the way, Dan Carlin puts it, is that you can watch by sermon how Anabaptism got spread by 2 people at a time. Mm-hmm. So Euronymous is using the same exact ability, slowly but surely preaching at people one at a time to slowly, and so he'll be talking to 6 people, one of them will get it.
No, he's not talking to 6 people at a time at all. No, they're keeping it. They're going by one by one. There's no talking about in public at all.
Not the mutiny aspect, the ideas aspect. Because then you see who picks up on the. There's no such thing as sin.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as that. He starts saying these things, seeing who says yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And then it's next level. It's cult leadership.
Yeah. It's months that they really get to dissect each other's psyche.
Yes.
Yeah. But starting with a couple of easily influenced cadets, Euronymous worked his way to the corporal who was in charge of disciplining the soldiers, a man who played much the same role as the boatswain. Later, Euronymous would be called a seducer of men, who used his uncanny powers of persuasion to draw men to his cause. And indeed, his silver tongue would eventually convince the men of the Batavia to commit all manner of evil. Now, once the recruitment reached the soldiers, the mutineers had a team of somewhere between 8 and 18 men on their side. We're not really sure exactly how many people were on board with this, but, that's the estimate.
Yes. Honestly, I'm surprised we know what we know.
Yeah.
Well, it's because of how much witness testimony came from the survivors and Pelsart's journal.
Yeah. But that's the thing, 8 to 18, that was more than enough to put them in a position where they could overthrow Upper Merchant Pelsart once and for all.
Because they just needed choke points.
Mm-hmm. But unexpectedly, Upper Merchant Pelsart got seriously ill, quite possibly from malaria contracted in Africa.
Was it bitch disease?
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, yes. And with the recent rollbacks in our health departments, bitch disease is on the rise. And there's really not much we have to fight it.
And because he was so sick, he was confined to his bunk for weeks on end. Captain Jacobs was therefore put in total control of the ship, but instead of taking advantage immediately, he wasted the opportunity on piddling things, like when he proudly announced to everyone that he had officially taken Crasia's servant as his girlfriend.
He's my girlfriend. Yes. All right. We are going steady. I am in way like with her. I sent her a note saying, would she go steady with me? And she checked yes.
And if I find one herpy that did not come from me,
and I know mine.
Because they all got names.
Here's Herpy 1, Herpy 2, Herpy 3, here's Ted.
Now, the plan for some reason was to wait until Upper Merchant Pelsart died before taking over the ship.
Sure.
And Euronymous was so confident in Pelsart's impending death that he'd stopped recruiting people for a violent mutiny.
I don't think he was wrong. He was dying. They were going in there, and Pelsart's like, you fucking piece of fucking shit. He's sitting there dying, being like, I'm gonna feel better, and I'm gonna take over this little fucking ship. And they're all like, all they had to do was wait.
Yeah.
But why not do the suffocate thing that we were talking about earlier?
Because
why
that's
not
what I'm
just
saying.
take his ass out?
That's what I'm saying.
No one would have thought any different.
Yeah.
They weren't ready. They were pussies, and because there still was a bunch of soldiers in the way. There were still, if open war happened, if open war on the water happened, that would also be really bad for them because the soldiers would outnumber them. And right now, yes, they have some of the sailors on, but they did not get to the soldiers because you didn't really know who they were going to be loyal to.
Now, the reason why there wasn't much hope for Pelsart, the reason why Euronymous thought, like, sure, we can just wait around for him to die, you get sick on a ship, you're fucked, that was because he was in the hands of the ship's surgeon and the surgeon's assistant, the underbarber.
Underbarber, yeah, it just sounds like the guy from Pubic Hair Barbershop.
See, the VOC had a hard time getting surgeons for their voyages because of the surgeon's extremely high at-sea mortality rate, which had been earned by being constantly stuck in small cabins with sick men. Most likely, if you were treating a guy with a plague, you were going to get the plague. If you were treating a guy with malaria, you were going to get malaria.
Yeah, and there would only be one surgeon?
One surgeon. Well, and the undersurgeon.
Yeah. But
so, yeah, him and his assistant.
and his boy.
Yeah, because you could barely get like one guy to say yes. And even then, you were scraping the bottom of the barrel. You were getting the guy who had fucked up enough over in his town where he was looking to leave real fast.
Yeah, he's the one with the big, like, thick glasses where you can see eyes and his hair sticking up and going, oh boy, I sure hope I don't have to do surgery today.
Yahoo Serious. He's a fucking surgeon.
Yeah, he makes Yahoo Serious with Goofy, and that's the ship's surgeon.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what Peppa looked like in its natural state.
All right, get ready for the keel, Holly.
It's fun to do. Did he die?
Well, mostly, surgeons were there to set bones and treat burns, dislocations, concussions, gunshot wounds, gangrene, or any other physical malady that might befall a man on a 17th century ship.
A broken heart.
Really, though, the primary requirement for being a ship surgeon was not knowledge, but stamina, because they had to be strong enough to hold down a conscious, screaming man while amputating a limb without anesthetic.
And the waves.
Yes.
Boats going back and forth.
Can't you just borrow a soldier for that shit?
Nah, you got to do it yourself. Well, concerning the treatment of disease, though, the ship's surgeon was also equipped with an apothecary's chest. And after the surgeon used every treatment he could think of to treat the ailing upper merchant, Pelsart miraculously recovered. Now, once Upper Merchant Pelsart was back on his feet, Euronymous and Captain Jacobs resumed planning a violent mutiny, but decided that the small crew they'd gathered wasn't enough. So they put together a convoluted plan to turn all the ship's crew members against Pelsart by using the object of his affection, Crasia Jansdokter.
Yeah, it's very interesting they decided to play some weird, esoteric political game instead of just killing him.
Yeah.
Because I also love the scene that they set by how, like, it really was this, like, long night, and they were kind of, like, pretty certain that he was gonna be dead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they looked up, and they saw him standing at the railing.
Yeah.
Like, and he was, like, sucking in air, like literally like, I'm not dead yet. I'm gonna get this shit to fucking Jakarta if it kills me or not.
It's crazy because, like, we all know that Pelsart's a bitch, but, like, these guys are, like, scared to kill him somehow so much that even when he gets better, they attack the woman.
Yes. Now, Pelsart and Krasia weren't together like Captain Jacobs and Krasia's servant were, but Pelsart did have enough affection towards his high-born crush where an attack on her might provoke an overreaction in Pelsart. So an assault was planned where the attackers would be disguised. It was hoped that Pelsart would punish every member of the crew. I don't know who did it, so you're all getting a bit of this.
Because it seems to be a common way amongst captains and the upper merchants.
Yeah, that would sow discord, and it would make it far easier when Captain Jacob stood up and said, "This is a bunch of bullshit. Let's kill Pelsart and become pirates." And so, in the middle of the night, a team of 8 men, led by the boatswain, invaded Krasia's cabin. And bizarrely, in a move that almost sounds like a prank if it wasn't so fucking aggressive, they smeared Krasia's face and genitals with tar and feces in an attack that lasted seconds.
All right, so what should we do here? There's a thing, right? I think what we do is we take her down. We'll cut off her head. We'll cut off her face and show the whole world her stupid little skull. Yeah! What I say we do, we can lift her up. We could chop up her arms. We could cut off her feet. We could play with her titties a lot. We do all sorts of crazy stuff with it, and that's what'll get them. Yeah.
Can I put doo-doo on her?
My God. Farty Fred, that's the best idea I've heard all night.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Doo-doo. Yeah. Our weapon of choice, of course.
Well, word of the attack spread quickly, but it seems like upper merchant Pelsart was either again reluctant to mete out punishment, or he was one step ahead of the mutineers. See, even after Krasia said she recognized the boatswain as one of her attackers, I know who did it, Pelsart took no action.
It's because he knew.
Yeah.
As soon as she said who it was, he was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, this has gotten real out of hand already, hasn't it?
That's like the one dude he's supposed to trust.
One of them. He's the guy that's in charge of disciplining everybody else. If the boatswain's involved, you're fucked. Shrewdly, it seems like Pelsart saw through the mutineers' plot and was simply waiting until the Batavia reached Java before he made his move. Or at least, that's what Euronymous and Captain Jacobs believed. So, they decided, since they're already fucked, to take a more direct mutiny before they reached Java, because if they reached Java, they would likely both be tried and executed. The next plan was far more straightforward than the first. Basically, it's fucking grab Pelsart while he's asleep and toss him over the boat.
Yeah, like it's a plan.
They should have done that months ago.
Mutinous plan, and it'd be done.
Yeah, grab him, throw him off the boat. That's it. Meanwhile, the rest of the mutineers would grab weapons and nail the hatches of the orlop deck shut, so the soldiers not involved in the mutiny couldn't interfere. But just as the plan was about to go into effect, the ship entered a wind current called the Roaring Forties, and no one aboard the Batavia had any idea just how incredibly dangerous this part of the sea could be.
It seems that the wind's picking up.
Why was it called the Roaring Forties? Because of the latitude?
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Way to go.
I know maps.
Maps. We used to have to use them. Because remember, the whole thing with the very special, highly proprietary Dutch way of getting to to Jakarta and the Indies was that they are to go towards Australia and make a left. Because if not, you ain't going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Roaring Forties were part of a relatively new route to the Indies discovered by the Dutch. Partly, the Roaring Forties were a boon because it avoided lanes patrolled by the Portuguese and any subsequent sea battle that might spring from such an encounter. The Roaring Forties also cut 2,000 miles off the journey to Java, but only if you turned north before you hit the western coast of Australia.
Left if you're going west.
Yeah, I mean, if you... Really, the ship from, like the trail from the Netherlands to Indonesia, to Java, the island of Java where they're going, it was like 3 lefts.
Yep.
You know, it's like you leave.
Left at Great Britain?
Yeah, left at Great Britain.
Left at Cape Town?
Yeah, left at Africa.
Left. Middle of the ocean. Yeah. You're at Jakarta.
It is wild how close they would get to Brazil.
Yeah. No, they're just fucking dink, 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 and that's it. Well, if the ship missed the turn, a low-lying chain of 122 coral reefs and barren islands lay directly in their path. This chain, called Houtman's Abrolhos, was discovered by a Dutch upper merchant named Houtman, who'd sketched them from afar. I always want to call it like Hitman's Abrolhos.
Yeah, they should be like Houtman's grand fuck up. Yeah. It's him just drawing. It's him being like, no, I've created an incredible route. That's what I've done. And they're like, no, it's just him standing on a barren reef, drawing pictures of it.
Well, I mean,
remember this place.
He'd sketched them from afar and noted their location on the navigational chart, because there really wasn't much in the sea that could rip a ship apart like a coral reef. But Houtman had only discovered the chain a few years before the Batavia set sail. Remember, information travels very slowly. So this very important information about what was in your path if you missed the turn to the Indies, this had not yet made it into the VOC's latest navigational charts. As a result, the Batavia had no idea that these incredibly dangerous reefs existed. Now, the Roaring Forties were the home stretch for VOC ships headed to Java. By the time the Batavia reached this point, the turn left up north, they'd been at sea for 7 months and had only 2,000 more miles to go in their 15,000-mile journey. But perhaps because Captain Jacobs was wrapped up in a mutiny plot and the possibility of execution if it failed, not to mention a new girlfriend.
She's my fun new girlfriend. And we talk about all sorts of things about our favorite colors. And we talk about what we'd name our dogs when we get them.
Daddy.
All right, well, let's just...
Oh, please, I've got something cute out for you.
Honestly, I do prefer it when you're silent.
Do you like my titties?
Yes, I do. They're like two seagulls with no feathers.
Oh,
All right, now don't you get me horny in front of the boys.
Well, Captain Jacobs missed the turn north.
That's the thing. He also was partying on the boat. When he was sick, when Pelsart was sick, they were all acting like he was going to die anyway. So they were all like partying and hanging out. They just blew right past him.
Yeah, we know Jacobs loves getting hammered.
Yeah, no, he really does. And he soon found himself arriving at the reefs of Houtman's Abrolhos in the dead of night. A little after 3 a.m. on June 4th, the ship's lookout saw white water and a massive spray, surefire signs of a reef. He called out his sightings to Captain Jacobs, but Jacobs brushed him off, saying that the white spray was just moonbeams dancing on the waves.
Yeah, you're full of shit, buddy, all right? Fuck you, man. I'm trying to watch Great British Baking Show with my girlfriend. Doing Netflix.
They only got 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I know. And I like it best when we find out how emotional they are after winning the best baker.
Their hard tack sucks.
Let's go British.
Within moments, though, Captain Jacobs discovered just how wrong he was when the Batavia slammed into the reef at full speed. Immediately, the ship became impaled on an outcropping 15 feet below the surface, which tore the rudder away. Seconds later, the ship's bow hit the body of the massive reef itself, which threw everyone on the deck against the railings of the ship. Being the middle of the night, most people were in bed and were jolted out of sleep when they were thrown forward by the force of the impact. Upon waking, the first thing they heard was the coral gouging its way into the ship's first hull, which cracked with the sound of a forest falling. Now, Upper Merchant Pelsart awoke with everyone else and found his ship in total chaos. It was a pitch-black night, and passengers and crew alike were panicking on the deck. Immediately, Pelsart ran to Captain Jacobs and shouted,
"What have you done? That through your reckless carelessness you have run this noose around our necks!"
Undeterred by Pelsart's reproach, Captain Jacobs shouted orders to pull down the Batavia's 8,900 square foot sails, because the continued wind was pinning the ship further into the reef like a man pulling a knife deeper into his own stomach. For the time being, however, there were no serious leaks, because ships like the Batavia were built with double hulls to keep something like a reef from being immediately fatal. So at this point, there's still a chance.
Yeah, you're like, we could maybe do this. Because remember, they already had landed on a bank once and got off of it. So they're like, this can happen. Maybe we could figure out. But the main issue is they have no idea where the fuck they are.
Yes, they have no idea where they are, because hitting a reef meant they were reasonably close to a shore. But the Batavia was not supposed to be close to any shore prior to reaching the island of Java. So they have no fucking clue where in the ocean they actually are.
They didn't hang that Lucy.
No, they didn't, man.
Nope.
And at that point, like, Australia wasn't even really on maps. Like, it was just called, like...
Australis,
like no man's land of Australis.
Yeah.
Like, basically, don't go past this point. There's nothing there.
And then when they do go there, sometimes they get killed by the people that live there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, once the sun came up a few hours later, Upper Merchant Pelsart called for a sounding lead to test the depths of the water around them and to see how badly they were fucked. If they'd crashed at low tide, the rising waters, once the tide came in, would lift the ship off the reef enough to make repairs and limp to Java. If they'd crashed in high tide, though, they were fucked. And sure enough, at 6 a.m., the tide slowly began to fall. As the water around the ship lowered, the passengers and crew saw the jagged tips of the reef emerging from the waves. Before long, the Batavia was surrounded on 3 sides by coral, and the ocean's waves violently bumped the ship against its tool of demise, making walking or standing on the deck all but impossible.
It has to be so surreal to be stuck like that when there's thousands of miles of water around you in all places, when you're looking and then all of a sudden it all slides away. Because there's like just kind of these little islands kind of around them, sort of.
Well, they can't really, at this point, they can't see any of them. Yeah. Now, it was clear when the tide fell that the ship wouldn't be able to support its 15-ton mainmast once the water dropped to a certain level. Sure enough, when the water receded, the mainmast began grinding itself through the bottom of the ship. So, in a last-ditch attempt at saving the Batavia, Captain Jacobs ordered his men to cut down the mainmast, but he did not give them instructions on how to do it safely.
Because you can save the mainmast. You can actually take it. That's what they do. You can literally chop it off, and then if you fall it off correct, this is things you learn that are crazy. They can save it and reattach it.
Yeah, but they couldn't.
No.
When the mainmast fell, it crushed gear and railings before becoming completely entangled on the deck.
It fell forward instead of falling the way it was supposed to fall.
Not to mention all the coral that damaged.
Yeah, and that to me is one of the biggest. Where's Nemo in this?
And with that, the Batavia was dead in the water, and the only course the passengers and crew had was to flee on the ship's 2 lifeboats and hope there was land nearby. But before loading people onto the boats, Upper Merchant Pelsart got as high as he could, and he used his spyglass to spot some islands about 6 miles away. He sent a crew out through the dangerous maze of reefs, a maze that could sink a rowboat as easily as the ship. And 2 hours later, they returned with news that all passengers and crew could reach the island safely. Now, Upper Merchant Pelsart's first duty as a VOC representative was to his company and the property on board the Batavia, especially the 500-pound chest full of treasure.
Imagine them glowing and beating like giant evil hearts. Like, that's all he can think about, is that the bottom of this whole ship has his whole life in it.
But in a rare moment of humanity for a VOC company man...
This is where he had a heart.
Yeah, Pelsart put the people ahead of the loot in order that they be taken to land first. This is, of course, a temporary change.
Yeah.
But while this is admirable, Pelsart probably should have assigned a few of his men to rescue supplies at the same time, because at 10 a.m., the hull burst. The cargo holds were flooded, and the majority of the supplies they could have used to survive were lost.
Well, definitely the first layer, which I was in his journals, are really interesting, because he started writing the journals right after the shipwreck, because what he had to do was create a chain of events and a timeline for his bosses back home for every single thing that happened, because that's the only way he was going to get out of it. And the way he was talking about it is interesting, because even that's kind of why I got to like him almost, as I'm reading his journals, and it's the way he's talking about the fact that, like, he rushed to get the people off.
Pelsart.
Yes, he rushed to get all the people off, and he did know that the supplies were going to be fucked.
Yeah.
But he chose human life. But then it's like, well, what's really the point if you're going to starve to death anyway?
Yeah, and then the whole thing where he like loaded the whole boat full of rats before the... It's crazy. Dude. It's crazy.
I love rats. I love them. Just one big boat filled with rats being like, thank you, Mr. Pelsart. Yes, go, my nieces.
Now, the bursting of the hull made the evacuation of the ship a little more urgent, but the Batavia's crew did not subscribe to the women and children first principle.
Good.
Once
Living it easy for too long.
Once shit got real, the sailors and soldiers pushed their way past the more vulnerable passengers and made the women and children wait for the second shuttle to the islands. Now, incredibly, no one had died when the ship crashed or in the chaos that followed. But when the hull burst, about a dozen men panicked and jumped into the sea, where they quickly drowned.
I'm an anonymous man. No one will remember me. No one.
Months at sea and then just jumped up.
It happens sometimes.
Yep.
You just in a moment of panic, you just everything that you've done in your life up until that point means jack shit.
It's true.
because you just panic and make the wrong decision. Well, these dozen men were the first of well over 100 people set to die on the islands of Houtman's Abrolhos. And you might even say that considering the fresh hell Euronymous Cornelius was about to create, the men who drowned were the lucky ones. Now, the nearest landmass was a mushroom-shaped island that was only 525 feet across from one end to the other. By that afternoon, 180 survivors were dumped there on land that was hard, flat, and sterile with no food or water and nothing to use as shelter. And I truly do mean it's just flat.
Yeah,
It is a piece of dirt.
Just sticking out of the ocean.
Yeah. Hard, flat, sterile, like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Eddie!
Whoa!
Whoa!
Yeah!
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Now, the near...
She actually has a fairly large bosom.
Does she? I never looked at it because I hate her so much.
Yeah.
I always check them out.
Yeah.
Even on men.
You might be thinking of Lauren Boebert.
Lauren Boebert, though, she has my heart.
No, does she?
She's the real firecracker.
Yeah.
She just needs somebody to treat her right.
Is it
put her in
because
the
she
right
got?
direction.
Is it because she got finger blasted in Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
The musical.
Approachable politician.
Children around.
She put the juice in Beetlejuice.
She wasn't wrong.
Now, for reference as to...
I wish I could be knuckle deep in a House of Representatives. I wish I could.
Now, for reference as to how small this island was and how many people were on it, take a football field where a mid-sized marching band is in the middle of a routine. Then, suddenly, for whatever reason, transport that field with the band still on it to the middle of the ocean. Add a couple of end zones, remove all the grass, shape the field into a mushroom, and you get some idea of the situation. Was that too far to go? You got some idea of the situation in which the survivors of the Batavia found themselves immediately after the shipwreck.
Yeah, but we're in Australia, though, so it could be a footy field.
Yes,
that's right.
And that is a circle, so it kind of works.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, well, I don't really know the dimensions of that, but that's cool.
Now I'm fucked. Now I'm fucked.
Now I'm fucked. Now you've made me into an idiot. Thank you.
I just went, when we went to Australia, I went to a footy game.
I know, you're trying to
I took in
absorb
some
culture.
gross culture.
Well, the only supplies they'd been able to save were 150 pints of drinking water and a dozen barrels of hardtack. But that had been against the orders of Upper Merchant Pelsart, who quickly seemed to be settling back into his role as a VOC company man. He had insisted that his men save a chest of valuable trading goods. That silver that was worth $7.8 million.
Yes.
Pelsart made sure they got that off the ship.
I mean, that's his fucking job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he had ordered Captain Jacobs to immediately start shuttling 12 chests to the islands. Jacobs, however, took the food and water instead, with a plan to institute rationing immediately.
But also, he had a little plan in the back of his head.
Yeah.
But isn't the captain supposed to be the last one on the ship?
Not this time. Not in a
Only if
VOC ship.
I believe if it's going down, but his job is to get that stuff.
Yeah, and I guess it wasn't necessarily going down yet. It was like perched like Noah's Ark.
Yeah, exactly. Now, at this point, there were still 120 men on the Batavia, and some of the sailors had decided to break into storage for the alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
See, most of the seamen hadn't had a proper drink for the entire ship, and on empty stomachs, they became very drunk very quickly. Fueled with alcohol, the men on the Batavia began looting for all the good it would do them on the open sea.
Dude, it's crazy, right? Humans are weird. Humans are when we covered the USS Indianapolis, it's that thing of like, because what good would it do? Like, you're going to sit in an island filled with jewels and all this shit. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. One group smashed open the VOC chest, which caused thousands of guilders to burst onto the deck. So many guilders that the men began playfully throwing handfuls of the treasure at one another.
I mean, that is fun.
It's really fun. No, it's a fun It's a very fun image.
It's a fun nihilistic afternoon.
Yeah.
Money fights!
Yep.
One man, however, went for the knives and built a small arsenal hidden about his person, perhaps knowing that if things went south on the islands as they were likely to do, weapons would be far more valuable than gold.
The Danny Trejo of the group.
Oh, he's correct.
Yeah. Now, by the next evening, day 2, the priority had become the movement of the majority of the survivors to a bigger island, but not for the good of the survivors at large. See, the crew had discovered a womb-shaped island about 1,000 feet across, just a mile from the Batavia.
What's a womb shape?
Vagina?
No.
Like
womb.
a pussy hole or?
No, like a womb. Like a womb is shaped. Like a woman's womb is shaped.
Womb? I thought a womb was just like a circle.
It's
You talking about
It's like a ovalish.
You talking about uterus?
I'm talking about a womb.
I'm talking all these guys that are on this womb-shaped island. There's going to be, too many wombmates.
That's what I'm saying. There's going to be no womb for them to hang out.
It's pear-shaped.
Ah.
Why didn't you say pear-shaped?
Because that was the descriptor that the people on the Batavia used.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They didn't know what a fucking pear was.
Yeah, they never saw a pear, but they have torn the womb out of a woman.
That is true. They do have that.
There are 3 white men.
Yeah. My last 3 wives' wombs fell out of their butts.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Some of my favorite days.
Well, this womb-shaped island was a barren strip of...
Pear-shaped, for those of you that don't know what that is.
Yeah. Womb with a view.
It was a barren strip of coral rubble with no shelter or fresh water. Soon, the survivors would come to know this island as Batavia's graveyard. But to save himself and those of his class, Pelsart sent 180 survivors to Batavia's graveyard by boat, while he and 40 of the better seamen and favored passengers stayed on the mushroom-shaped island with most of the food and water. The Batavia, meanwhile, still hadn't gone under, and 70 men remained hanging out on the top deck, still drinking and tacitly following Pelsart's orders to salvage as much company property as possible. Now, Pelsart ordered the men on the shipwreck to construct rafts and save themselves the day after the ship wrecked, but perhaps because the Batavia promised the only shelter around as long as it stayed together, they refused to leave.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because it's actually way more coverage than the island, and we got all this shit in here, and there's beds and stuff and whatever.
Yeah,
And
zero coverage in the island.
And they're drunk. When you get lazy when you're drunk.
That's true.
It's easier to sleep on a boat when you're drunk.
Yeah. Well, amongst the men who stayed behind on the Batavia, perhaps directing the rescue of company property, was Euronymous Cornelis, who was no doubt trying to figure out how he could turn this disaster to his advantage. His day, however, would not come just yet, although it would very soon.
Yeah, Euronymous hid on the boat, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like he hid back because he was like, because at first I do feel like it was like he was in a cocoon of evil where he's sitting there being like, I don't know, because he's very weak.
Yeah.
This isn't some rugged guy.
No, he's a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Now, after 4 days on the islands trying to find fresh water and coming up empty, Upper Merchant Pelsart decided that it would probably be best if he left on one of the boats to go get help in Java.
Listen, I'll be right back. I promise.
Yeah, I was going to go to Indonesia real quick.
Someone's got to go.
You
Might as well be me.
Put right here, and I'm going to be right back.
I'm going to get some smokes.
Yeah. But perhaps going off the principle of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer, Pelsart ordered Captain Jacobs to come with him.
Because he was certain he was in charge of the mutiny.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Pelsart thought it was Jacobs.
Yeah.
Not Euronymous.
Yeah, it was both of them.
Yeah.
But he did not. Pelsart assumed that it was Captain Jacobs who was doing it. So he was like, you're coming with me, super friendly like. But then in the journal, he's watching his every move and writing all this stuff, basically building evidence against Jacobs while they're traveling around.
Yeah. Now, most likely, Jacobs knew at this point that he was utterly fucked because Pelsart had, of course, pegged him as a mutineer. But with Jacobs' compatriots scattered across islands, shipwrecks, and what have you, he had no choice but to go along. So, on June 8th, Pelsart, Captain Jacobs, and 46 other survivors from the Batavia's crew and passenger list loaded up on one of their 2 boats for an extended ocean voyage to Java. It was their longboat. They had a big one and a small one. They took the big one.
Just keep the graveyard warm for me.
As for the survivors, they were told that if all went well and the rescue party didn't die on the open sea, Upper Merchant Pelsart would return within a month or 2 with the full support of the VOC behind him.
And
don't worry, company's coming to save save you.
But there is like apparently there is like there's a what's it called? There's a precedent for this. They've had this happen. This has happened before.
Yeah.
Not here, but there have been shipwrecks, and the VOC and survivors have gotten to where they're supposed to go, and the VOC has come and gotten it. Because the thing is, they got all their stuff.
Yeah.
So the VOCs will come and get their property.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is in their best interest to not kill passengers either.
Yeah,
It's the passengers they care about. They don't care about the sailors.
Yeah, you all play it cool. I'll be back in a month, and if I'm not back by then,
We're all dead.
rape and eat each other.
Yeah, you guys are all dead anyway. So I don't know.
Well, in all, Pelsart was leaving behind 270 survivors, including his supposed sweetheart, Krasia Jansdokter. He did take 2 women and some children, but he still left several of both behind to an almost certain death by starvation or dehydration, because the freshwater salvage from the Batavia was nearly gone by the time he left. No one had any idea when it was going to rain again.
Yeah,
No, it's
and
not.
that water wasn't great to begin with.
No,
It's all
no.
algae and fucking...
Well,
At
it's
this
all
point,
gross.
I think it said that the water was full of worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you could eat.
Yeah, you can eat worms.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can eat the worms.
That's nice, actually.
But I
Yeah.
could just see Pelsart with the little boy that he might have met somewhere on the thing, just like getting. He's like, all right there, little Steve and I. You just stay right here and you just have fun. Okay?
Can you do that for me?
Can you do that for me? Okay.
Like sandcastles, right?
All right. I'm gonna be right back. All right. All right. See ya. Bye. Have fun.
Hold on,
Have fun
one more
in there.
kiss. All right. We'll stay for like 5 more minutes.
How have I never kissed a boy before today? How have I let such unknown pleasures go unknown?
Truly the rare fragrances.
These conditions, however, would not be how the majority of the people on Batavia's graveyard met their doom. Rather, many would die at the hands of, quote, several dozen of the worst cutthroats and drunkards who had sailed for Amsterdam. That was how author Mike Dash put it. And one man would set it all into motion. See, most of the senior VOC officers had lit out on the longboat with Pelsart and Jacobs, but someone from the VOC had to be left in charge while they were all gone. At this point, Pelsart didn't know every person who was involved in planning the mutiny, because in a grave mistake, he chose Euronymous Cornelis as leader in his stead, effectively given the amoral undermerchant permission to turn the islands into his own dictatorial syphilitic nightmare.
Cool.
And that's where we'll pick back up for part 3 of the Batavia, where the murders and mayhem will officially begin, disguised, as murderous mayhem often is, as law and order.
Marcus, when do I get my own dictatorial syphilitic nightmare? I want one.
Henry, here's a secret. You can have one anytime.
Oh, the secret's in me.
Well, you got to get syphilis first.
Oh, okay. Will do.
And the longboat, I want to ask a question about the longboat before we... It's just like a giant... Like, there's no, like, shelter.
As far
It's
as
all you're out in the elements.
I don't know.
I actually don't know, but I do believe it might just be a really big rowboat.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, like a Viking longboat.
Yes, I'm pretty certain. And the rest of the journal,
there's definitely no like cabins or anything like that. in it.
Yeah.
I mean, as you read the journal, it does kind of talk about that. I'm pretty certain it is just a giant rowboat, and it gets real boring real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could only imagine.
And frightening.
You know what else I find to be very cool about this whole story is that the Batavia itself crashes into the coral and then, inevitably will sink into the coral and then become coral itself.
Yes.
Whoa, it's a circle of life. Actually, they did save a lot of it. And actually, the Batavia is currently in a museum. I forget where it is.
Oh, really?
I think it's in Australia. I think it's in a maritime museum in Australia.
Fuck, we missed it.
Yeah, I saw, but
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube video of it, so I basically
Is it the Maritime Museum in Sydney?
No.
No.
Good,
It's-
'cause
it's-
I almost went and I didn't. I would have been mad.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere like really obscure and weird.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it, though, but there's a YouTube video. You walk through the whole ship. It's cool.
So I'm looking at the map the whole time, Marcus says, thank you for the map, Rob.
Oh, of course.
I'm looking at the map the whole time you're telling the story. And so, like, it looks like the reef is like around Perth, right? Like, close.
yes,
like,
it is on the western side of
it's-
Australia.
Yeah, on the western
So
side.
it's not the Great Barrier Reef, because
No.
that's on the other side.
No, it's on
Yeah.
the shitfuck barrier reef.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's on the barren side of Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, where there's nothing there but Perth
Well, guys.
and Perthlings.
And Perthlings are enough.
Yeah. Also, I want to give a quick congratulations to Henry and I for not making one semen joke, not one tarred rope.
Not one. Joke, not one. Not one.
Yeah. I've actually been kind of wondering when you guys were going to jump on that.
It was too easy.
Yeah.
You know what it was? Is that I noticed.
I mean, I didn't set you really set you up for anything. There weren't like, any obvious ends.
But you know what it is? You were too proud of your use of the word semen because I knew what you were doing.
I mean,
I knew you were trying to goad me.
I wasn't trying to do anything.
But I knew what you were trying to do.
It's the word that is used for men at sea.
I do believe that semen, in this case, is more appropriate than sailors.
Yeah.
Because I just feel that these seamen, well, they're bunching up.
Yeah, and if they would have studied harder, they would have been beaming.
Yeah, it's the cream of the blood.
It's the cream of the goddamn blood. Check out our patreon.com/lastpodcast on the left, and you will see the cream of our blood, which is our podcast.
Dallas, baby. We're coming to Dallas February 22nd. That's going to be amazing at the CU Theater. I can't wait.
Texas.
It's actually in Grand Prairie, Texas. But yeah, we're going to do that. And then we got a whole other bunch of shows coming down the pipe. We're going to be Nashville, Toronto. We're doing Detroit. And then there are going to be some other announcements coming soon.
We're about to
Very excited
release a
about that.
bunch of other shows. We cannot wait. Go to lastpodcastonleft.com to buy those tickets for us. We are good at it. Come see.
Yes, and if you watch us on Patreon, you can see the wonderful map that's behind Marcus when you watch the show that you were listening to.
Mm-hmm. And you can also follow us on all the socials at TikTok and Instagram. TikTok's still around, right? Yeah, at LP on the left. And don't forget to go watch all of our wonderful streams over at twitch.tv/LPNTV and everything VOD on our YouTube channel afterwards. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Hell Satan.
On Hell Game.
God, all these guys suck.
Hail the Reef.
You know what?
The Reef.
Hail Joel and Shaw for fucking working overtime on this motherfucker.
They're killing it. Our researchers are really killing it and really helping out on this one.
Yeah, so this is unbelievable. So hail them.
Hail
them. And make sure, turn left. Don't miss that left.
Turn left. Now.
No.
Nah, it's just moonlight.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help your business stand out and succeed online. Squarespace gives you everything you need to offer services and get paid, all in one place. From consultations to events and experiences, showcase your offerings with a customizable website designed to attract clients and grow your business. The best part about it is it can help you design a funnel in which you can very quickly record commercials so that you can get it done while you are desperately trying to get on break. That's the best part about Squarespace. It can really shorten up the time you spend doing things. You got to get in there. Use Squarespace. Man, is it fast. It is absolutely incredible. You're going to love your experience at Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Courage. I learned it from my adoptive mom. Hold my hand.
You hold my hand. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.